Hello everyone, I'm meteorologist Charlie Ironmonger. Thank you so much for joining me today for your 3 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. Now, police in Carteret County are asking for your help in finding a missing person. Scott Littleton, 51 years old, has been reported missing. He is 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighs around 220 pounds, and he has blonde/gray hair and has blue eyes. Now, deputies say Littleton was last seen leaving his home on Wetherington Landing Road on Tuesday. Now, he drove away in a 2007 white Pontiac GS and wore jeans, but his shirt is unknown. Anyone with information on Littleton's whereabouts should call the sheriff's office at 252-728-8400. You can find that number there at the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. And now we also want to highlight news coming out of Raleigh regarding state flu deaths. And the number has been increasing and is now approaching 300. The Department of Health and Human Services says statewide flu deaths now stand at 297. DHHS says there were another 5 deaths this past week across the state. Now, deaths across the state peaked just after the holidays and have been declining since then. So far this season, 232 deaths were people 65 years of age or older, 42 deaths between 50 and 64 years of age, 15 deaths were attributed to people 25 to 49 years of age, 7 deaths between 5 and 17 years of age, and there was 1 death for a child under 5 years old. Last season, 544 people died from the flu, the highest number since 2009. And now we want to turn our attention to the war in Iran and how politics in Washington could shape how the war is fought. NBC's Peter Alexander has more.
This morning, with the war against Iran escalating and expanding, President Trump's attempting to silence criticism about the administration's mixed messaging.
We were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack if we didn't do it.
The president rejecting the idea made by his own Secretary of State that Israel's plan to attack forced the U.S.'s hand.
So if anything, I might have forced Israel's hand, but Israel was ready and we were ready.
Top administration officials say that during negotiations, Iran was lying while rebuilding its nuclear program.
Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons.
President Trump had previously warned Iran would soon have missiles that could reach the United States. But U.S. intelligence disputes that, saying Iran would not have that capability for another decade. Following classified briefings on Capitol Hill, Democrats say the White House's explanations are not good enough.
There was no imminent threat against the American people. This is a war that is going to be borne on the backs of working class Americans.
And remain alarmed that President Trump has not ruled out American troops on the ground.
I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground.
Republican lawmakers are largely supportive of the current mission, but wary if it expands.
Over time and with boots on the ground, then my antenna starts going up about congressional involvement.
But skepticism on the Hill is not stopping the Trump administration from expanding America's military involvement across the globe. Overnight, announcing that U.S. forces launched an operation in Ecuador, along with the local military there to target drug traffickers. Part of the president's push in South America that has also drawn the U.S. military into Venezuela, capturing its leader at the beginning of this year.
And again, that was Peter Alexander reporting. We now turn to your weather forecast and looking at beautiful sunny skies today and southwesterly winds that have helped carry our air temperatures well into the 70s today. In fact, right now, New Bern is closing in on 80. Right now, 78 degrees along the Neuse River in central Craven County. Comes with a south-southwesterly breeze at about 10 miles an hour. Starting to feel a little bit warmer as well. That right there, it's a heat index. A 78-degree air temperature feels like 79 as dew points have risen over the past few days. Now up to a 54-degree dew point. Now dew points in the 50s, still comfortable still comfortable, and you're not walking out and immediately sweating like we usually do in the summer months. But it's important to note that that dew point is expected to rise as we head towards the weekend. So we could end up seeing a little bit more of a summertime looking, at least early summertime looking pattern as we approach Saturday and Sunday. For right now, air temperatures generally in the mid to upper 70s across many inland areas. For those of you watching along the immediate coast, certainly cooler thanks to the presence of that colder ocean. Right now we've got 66 degrees in Beaufort as well as Oriental, 62 in Hatteras. Manio right now catching a little bit of that southwesterly breeze blowing over Hyde and Dare counties, and that is keeping air temperatures a little bit warmer than Cape Hatteras right now. But regardless, everyone except for Beaufort is warmer than they were yesterday at this same point. Now we are going to continue to see us hang on to the heat that we have gained today overnight tonight. By the time we get to around 8 o'clock this evening, air temps down into the mid 60s. By the time we reach 11, look at around 62 degrees. And that marks your average high for this time of year. Isn't that's saying something? That gives you an idea of just how warm we are compared to our seasonal average. Early tomorrow morning, we could be talking about fog again. Earlier this morning, Jim put out a first alert weather day because of the fog. May end up doing that again tomorrow morning, depending on how fast those winds come in. If we get wind speeds over 5-6 miles an hour, the opportunity for fog to form gets much smaller. But if we get about a 2-3 mile per hour light breeze plus higher humidity, fog could certainly lead to some visibility issues for the morning commute tomorrow. Now we are going to be warming up quickly. 73 degrees by noon, turns to 78 again between 2 and 3 p.m. It's going to be toasty, and it's a combination of sunny skies and a southwesterly breeze. But when we zoom the picture out, we can clearly see we are kind of surrounded by a massive frontal system. It's actually several frontal systems all kind of tied together, and that's going to keep rain away from eastern North Carolina because a lot of those low pressure systems, they're going to be shifting further and further northward as they move eastward. So they're not just moving eastward, they're moving northeastward, and that's going to keep us here in eastern North Carolina in what is considered the warm sector of those frontal systems. What does that mean for us? Air temperatures well above average. We are talking about a 20-degree rise above average for your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. This is just going to be a complete 8-day stretch at least of air temperatures that are about 20 degrees warmer than our seasonal average. Now we do have an opportunity for some rain showers to roll in. That's going to be happening Sunday and into Monday, and potentially even carrying over into Tuesday as a cold front will approach eastern North Carolina, but will not fully cross eastern North Carolina. And that's an important designation because if a cold front completely crosses the area, it leads to more atmospheric lift, and that provides an opportunity for thunderstorms to potentially turn severe. With the cold front approaching eastern North Carolina, it gets us on the periphery of some of those thunderstorms, but does not give us the opportunity, or does not give the thunderstorms the opportunity to get to that severe level. So good news in that regard. Plus, we always need, well, not always, we certainly right now need the rain showers throughout eastern North Carolina. So again, it is a positive that we are again seeing some raindrops coming in Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and even Thursday of next week. Well, that's all we have time for today's 3 p.m. news and weather update from the First Alert Desk. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. We'll be back with more coming up at 4. Until then, have a fantastic Wednesday.